will open this meeting of March 30th, 2015. Let the record show all selectmen are present. This meeting was set up to go over what we had heard at the DES public hearing at the Belmont Corner Meeting House on the expansion of Casella, Bestway Casella on 140. A lot to be discussed. We thought as a board we would get together and perhaps write a letter to Mr. Wheeler, discouraging him from okaying it. Joyce gave us a draft letter. It has a little bit of, gosh, I got oil all over me, I'm sorry. Just came from my workshop. Has a little bit of what the Tilton Water District had to say, what John has found out with the EPA. Did you share that with the information that you got with on the EPA that you gave to us? Did you share that with the water company?
I did not yet.
Okay.
I did send some stuff over to Chuck Mitchell. They're writing, or they have already composed a letter, just for their information, comment. I can send that over to Scott, too.
Yeah, send it to the water district. I'll try to put everything through the office so we have a track. In case we have people or whatever.
You know, I don't, is that the John Chase one?
No, TNWD MetroGas. It'll be right on the top of that letter I gave you the other day at the meeting.
TNWD.
Wait, Selectmen or my? Which email?
Org?
I think it's .com, but it's right on, if you have that copy. of the
.net or
letter,
Yeah, I don't have it in this book.
it'll be right on the
I don't have my other book.
Was it .net?
Metrocast.net.
Metrocast is net.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yep, I have it. I have Metrocast. Does everyone have a copy of this? Do you have an extra one? All right, never mind.
I can make a copy. Is this thing working up here?
Do we want to read it aloud for the record, or do we want to just, because it's a draft?
It's just a very rough.
Yeah, I wouldn't read it into the...
This is a very rough draft, just covering the outline of the ideas and how we put it together as us.
Well, where you say the state should immediately reclassify the aquifer to a GAA level delineated well-held protection area, that, you already put that in motion, correct?
Our engineers are currently applying, putting the application, that was the one they have.
And I concur.
And the
It shouldn't be a
request,
wellhead protection
the
area. It's
request
right there
has
at
to
the
come
wellhead.
from someone other, we make the request to them.
That's
To
what's
change
being-
it.
That's what's being put in. right?
Yeah, so we wouldn't
All the
ask,
documentation
yeah.
being put together to request that be upgraded to a DA.
Okay. So they're doing that, so this part here, we wouldn't need to,
Well, because you're supporting what they're doing.
so we could say,
And
Sure.
read in there, it says we support what the
Yeah.
Tilton Northfield Aqueduct is saying, and that those are the things to change the wellhead protection classification and to hold it to the stricter standards.
but they haven't done that. They're in the process of doing that.
Probably a good thing.
They
I know.
haven't done that yet.
Yeah, we want them to do it.
But that's why it said should immediately reclassify. We're reiterating what they've said,
Right.
and we're trying to
I
back them
agree,
up.
I agree. This is what we're looking for, right?
Wait a minute, you're sending a letter to Mr. Wheeler, and you're saying,
Not to Mr. Wheeler. When we do the GAA, that letter's going to Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, but
GAA goes to
in the letter,
division.
right.
That's the unfortunate part. They don't
We-
talk to one another.
we mentioned the other day that, the water company mentioned the other night at the hearing, that you're in the process of trying to get that into a GAA,
To get it upgraded.
to get it upgraded into a GAA classification. We can say we concur,
That's what
and,
it says.
no, it's,
We strongly support the recommendations of the Tilton Northfield Water District Commissioners.
Period.
Turn the
And
page.
the first one is that
But we
the state...
shouldn't list them, they already know that.
yeah.
Well, okay.
I mean,
Then
we
this is
should-
going to be
I
a
think-
really short letter.
Well, I think that we should have our own stand to side with them.
The selectmen should be concerned, number one, with the exit 20 corridor, which is a huge financial gain for the town of Tilton if you were to lose, say, the restaurants out there. If they didn't have portable water, how would they function?
That's kind of stuff that's in here. We're just at the
But
first.
I think that that's kind of the things that I would look for
Yeah.
the selectmen to
You have a good point.
to push the weight, to push this wheel and to say that's the reasons, the concerns you have as select people who run the town.
We have an opportunity to carry the Water District's letter to another level, and it's just as Scott has said, to expound on that, saying how, okay, because there's a statement here, our economic vitality as well as that of the Lakes region, so my question beside it is how? It's exactly as Scott said.
Right, right.
So we can
Well, you
carry
know,
this
the
to
other
another
day-
degree of,
When we were talking the other night, and this is how you explained it, John, with all of this leachate, whatever it is.
Leachate.
I love that
Leachate.
word.
Garbage aid.
But, you know what? Remember how many complaints I had when the garbage truck would back up to Maple Court, take my garbage, and then all of a sudden crush it at the end of Maple Court, and I'd have all this liquid spillage all out in Maple Court.
I love it when the guy said there wasn't any.
Yeah.
I never saw any come out of a truck.
Yeah, and then he said...
What?
So there, the next day,
Gallons and
All up on
gallons
Maple
of it
Court.
would come out of the truck onto the street.
They compacted.
And my concern was, the very first time I take my dogs out the front door, where do you think that they're going to go?
Step in that.
New
And
smell.
that is highly,
Look at that
highly,
garbage
highly
pond.
toxic. I was like a banshee woman
every
after
cat
them.
dog in the neighborhood.
Every single, they hit that spot, I would have to pressure wash it off the street. Well, after about 5 phone calls, they did it once, then another phone call to Dennis, and then they didn't do it anymore. But that's highly toxic, highly. You figure, all of what's in here is all in a liquidated form on the street, and they do it all throughout the route. And I don't think they should be allowed to do that.
The big
Well,
part
that's a
of that,
separate issue from this.
the big part of that is that, that's one truck, and that's not a full load, fully compacted. As it gets full, they compact it more and more and more and squeeze more
Right.
juice out of it. So you have 20 trucks a day
That are backing up into the
Garbage milk.
facility, into the
Oh, I know
facility,
how it
doing
works.
exactly the
Well,
same
I
thing.
know that.
It's
I know that.
not just at the facility, but driving,
dumps on the
as
Pikes
Scott
Land
said, over the 140 corridor, you have 20 trucks fully compacted with all of their leachate running out, that will be continually running off the side of the road into the aquifer as well.
Right,
You
exactly.
just have, 1 or 2 trucks a day, and they're going from A to B on their route. They aren't as compacted and leaching. But I do think that in the letter, we should mention that the Water District is in the progress of reclassifying the aquifer, and just leave it at that, so that they know that this is now happening.
we can say we support their efforts.
Well,
Are you able
They're in
to
process of it,
file
though.
that,
Know
or
that-
does it have to go through Northfield? My understanding is you have to have the selectmen in the town of Northfield basically approve your application.
We're putting the application together now. If we have to have the selectmen in Northfield, when we hit that point, we'll take it to there and have that done.
Okay.
I don't see a problem with that, Gavin.
I wouldn't suspect there would be.
I mean, unfortunately, this was all, talking with Renee when he looked back at New Franklin Henry, that used to be before it was Stantec. And that's who he worked with, that's the engineering firm. And when he looked back through it, he can't figure out why it wasn't classified as that when they went and petitioned and permitted the well to be on the board. That's when it really should have been. Because once they were drawing the town's water for the two towns up there, then that's when that, you see on that map that we gave you, shows the wellhead protection area, which is well, and it shows the number 5 would be best way, and they're well within that wellhead protection area.
Yes, they
That's
are.
when that should have been upgraded at that time, which it wasn't, but at that time, it was like 10 million, back in the late 90s, mid-90s, I guess he started in 96, and it was started in 98, is when the wells were in. So unfortunately, we're trying to catch up with that now, which hopefully, as we stated in our original letter to the realtor, we hope he uses that criteria when they're re-examining the permit without us, that he uses that type of criteria, GAA criteria, as opposed, because it is the drinking water for the people.
It is.
So it seems like a little common sense should enter in, hopefully.
I hope so.
Unfortunately, we're talking government.
Now,
And as I
these
say,
very,
Unfortunately, the water, the sewer division evidently doesn't communicate or correspond well with the water. Things like that.
you may have noticed at the public hearing, started right out by saying that the permittee is bound by rules and regulations and laws, and they're bound, the board is bound by those same rules and regulations and laws. Technically, the town of Tilton, as far as I know, has no official standing because we're not technically an abutter. The Water District has standing, the town of Northfield has standing, but why does Tilton have standing?
We don't.
We don't.
Well, you have standing in the fact you have concerns for your exit 20 corridor.
And that's all we've got is concerns.
And also your residents which drink the water, Joe.
Now, I know what our concerns are, but I'm talking about legal standing here. So anything we ask of them is totally out of the goodness of their heart, because they're bound by rules and laws.
You can say the same thing, Joe, on their emergency preparedness plan, which if they were to have a issue at the transfer station, even the Rick Skarenka, who runs the water division at DES, wasn't even on the list to be notified, nor was the Tilton Northfield Water District.
Well, I think
And that's
something,
crazy, but
which is a good point, because something like that has to be in this letter as well, because there's no, if there's a catastrophic emergency here, there's no plan, and there's no monies put aside, there's no bonding whatsoever, except for closing.
it's not required. The guy said it wasn't required.
If there, let's say there was a fire and a spill, there would be emergency responders that would respond from what towns? What fire departments would show up for that?
Northfield, Belmont.
Northfield, Belmont?
Belmont.
Tilton would
It's
never
in
go into
Belmont.
mutual
They're-
aid?
We'd go for mutual aid, though.
Yeah.
If we got called, we went to, I think only to a second alarm, not a first alarm.
Structure fire, I think, would get called.
Structure fire, first alarm, but
So a garbage fire wouldn't spring us.
like a truck fire.
The only thing, skin we got in the game is we drink all our water out of there.
It's just, it seems like the risk, it's all risk and no reward.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, in common sense.
Belmont got reward. $2 a ton, the cistern, the free pickup of the recyclables. I understand. And Casella's a good neighbor. Casella is a fine company, but it's a lousy place to put a transfer
That's our
station.
point, is that, you know, if they can permit it somewhere else. That's the stance that we're taking, you know. fine if they want to go somewhere that's not over an aquifer, then we would have no problem. But when they're over the aquifer, that's
Right.
within our wellhead protection, that's the problem. It expanded any further. I mean, we weren't formed when the original application went in for them to go in there. We weren't even formed as a district then.
So all of the issues are contained in the water district and public comment that, like you plan to send, John, I liked your stuff really well. That draft you sent out?
Yeah, that was just gathering of,
Yeah,
That's
but
in here.
that really expresses explicit concerns. The only thing that we can really say, as far as I can see, is that if the water is poisoned, heaven forbid, the economic and the veterans home and the residents of Tilton Northfield are now out of water.
the hotels, the restaurants.
All of the business, Exit 20, downtown, what is it, New Franklin Apartments, or the place right up the street here, people who can ill afford to lose their
Yep.
drinking water.
Not only that, but we have the Tilton School in town. I mean,
The high school? All of the schools.
4 schools out of the Loomis Strong School District that are within the drinking water.
So it's all about water quality for us.
You have all your restaurants at Exit 20. How many thousands of people depend go out there daily or on a weekly basis? You know, you're talking about thousands. You've got 3 hotels out there. They're all on our water. So if you start looking at all of that, it's a big nut. And the sad part of it is, when you look at trying to replace 375,000 gallons or 525,000 gallons, depending on the time of the year, how do you replace that?
There is no replacing it. And the money, even if they did bond something, money is not drinkable.
I don't think you can put a dollar on that.
Talking of dollar amounts, when I looked up at their application for the cost, their financial responsibility cost, it was $17,500.
For closing?
Yeah.
Well, apparently they
On their
think that's
application.
enough, but that won't even begin to touch this.
I don't think you could take a building down and remove it for 17,000, all those for 17,500, regrade the site.
Look at what we
No, not a chance. To close that, no way.
cleaned up at Riverfront Park. How many thousands is that?
Hundreds.
So
And then we spent more when we found that tank.
that was 10, 12, 15 years ago.
Closing the UST over here is, they approximated it'd be between $25,000 and $30,000 to close it right now. Now, it's not a transfer station, but it is a regulated site. And it's not anywhere near what this site's gonna be. They've got a fuel farm and an outside tank, and those things have to be closed very specifically.
Just so the selectmen are aware, I have met with the commandant at the Veterans Home, and there was a letter constructed that went to Mr. Wheeler, voicing concern and saying that they were against the fact that this was being proposed to go in. And also this afternoon, I met with the headmaster at Tilton School, and he's going to be constructing a letter to get out on also. As he sees that, if he was to lose the water up there, that would be devastating for the Tilton School. So I think that that's the concern that I look at bringing forth to them, is that it seems like it's all risk, and there's no reward for anything in regards to what they're proposing. I'm not against Casella or Bestway, but I am against them having that facility at that location. As simple as that.
So I think we all agree, but how do we construct a letter?
You getting an idea, Joyce, what we're after?
So is the board's position that you want DES to deny their permit? The expansion?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what we've taken that stance in the water district to deny. After listening to the hearing, we went there with concerns and questions, of which the concerns grew and the questions were never answered, that we had.
Yep.
Simple as that.
And in lieu of outright denial, they should apply the most stringent safeguards available. You talk about best management practices, this has to go beyond that even. They really need to take care of this.
Well, how about the,
Most stringent safeguards available on the existing facility.
If they're gonna approve it, then they better.
but I think there's, from what I heard, and presently, the way they're operating it, it doesn't seem to be the best management practices. When they're not disposing of hazardous waste that they find properly, they're not storing of it properly,
Discharging
They're not-
onto a butter.
they're discharging onto a butter. I don't know if that would be the butter that should probably say something.
Well, they did.
But presently, the way they're operating is not.
Yeah, they're in violation of several things now. And for them to put MSW and 300 tons a day or so,
Yeah.
well, they said that they were going to increase their C&D, but I agree, but let's just call it 300. That's a lot of tonnage. They're going to add that, and maybe 450?
Yeah, they could go up as high as 450, I mean,
They could.
Yeah.
it's sad.
So I'm scared.
We got to get this letter out so that the last that they'll get is April 3rd, and then they're going to make a decision.
That's the last he's going to take written
Yeah.
testimony.
Yeah, public input.
Comment.
Now, we can transmit this to the
We will.
gentleman electronically as well as by mail?
I would say do both.
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely by mail, but I would like to see him get an electronic copy. That way we have an actual proof of receipt. Gee, I didn't get your letter. Would be tragic.
Yeah.
So how much detail did you want to go into about the leachate contamination?
I say we just keep it short and sweet, because the leachate is being addressed by John, it's being addressed by the Water District. Not to mention
Well,
that
I
the
didn't-
people in Belmont were going to put their stuff together and send it. We're just one of the voices in the choir here.
We need to write a letter that expounds upon the facts of why it would be devastating to the town of Tilton if
Yeah.
that water source was polluted and could no longer be used, and I think, because...
That's our major concern, I do believe.
Okay, so let's concentrate, so what are those?
Exit 20.
Scott hit on one.
Number one is your residents
Yeah.
in the town that are on the municipal water. And
Yeah.
then you go to your you've got the Tilton School, you've got all your...
The schools,
The high schools.
Your high schools.
Yep.
You've got the New Hampshire Veterans Home.
The restaurants.
Senior living.
Yep.
You have multiple factions of senior living within town.
Well, it's-
You've got low-income housing. I mean, you have all these people that depend on potable water through the municipal water system, that if they were to lose, how do they function?
is Lockmere off of the same aquifer?
No,
Is who?
Lockmere?
No.
no, it comes out of the lake. So we should concentrate on, so exit 20. We would devastate by losing that tax base financially.
Yeah, there's an economic impact on the entire area.
Yeah, I
Employment?
think that should be
Employment?
employment.
Oh, yeah, all the things that go with that.
Tourism dollars to the state,
Tax revenue to the state.
you know? And you
Tourism dollars
Tax
to the
revenue to
state.
the town, no business, no tax.
have the Tilton Diner, I know for a fact, on wholesale side, it goes through more food than any restaurant in New Hampshire. Orders more food.
Tilton
Hallelujah,
Diner?
I'm here to tell you.
I think they've done well.
Tilton Diner.
Yeah.
The Tilton
Oh, the
Diner-
numbers they do are just like,
They've done wells, right?
So how else would
And
Tilton?
McDonald's generates, that's the busiest McDonald's in the state of New Hampshire.
and there you have, we have some very vital links, business links here in this community.
They get off at exit 20.
If that well became contaminated, the well would be shut down, there would be no water flowing through
They
that
can't
pipe.
pump contaminated
pump-
water.
Well, the thing of it is, it would not be portable water. If we kept it on, it'd only be for fire suppression.
That's the other thing I was thinking
That
about.
would be the only others, that would be the only...
And by the time you found out the water was contaminated, so would, all the lines would be too.
You see, and that's what our engineer, when we left the meet, after the public hearing the other night, Renee said, the sad part, he hears about the monitoring wells, but he says monitoring wells in that big of aquifer are just gonna tell you the problem's here.
That's right, it's too late.
The problem's here. When you get
It's
into
after
the
the
monitoring
fact.
wells, he said, you can't pump that aquifer.
We're gonna check it once a year.
Get it going the other way.
There's no requirement for monitoring wells on that site. I asked the guy at
So,
the end. No,
what other economic impacts at
downtown.
pertaining to exit 20?
Oh, to exit 20.
That it? So then we should list the impact,
Devastating.
it would be
That would be
devastating.
devastating. There'd be no
So
potable
the other,
water at the mall.
the
You
next
can't
impact
function.
we could list for Tilton would be the school system.
And I think the way to place that is to say, not only for the town of Tilton, but for the state of New Hampshire, what they generate from revenue.
Oh, from those tourists that come through.
Oh, yeah.
Rooms and meals tax.
Yeah.
It would be devastating. So therefore, it puts the burden on them that the state would have to find a way to make up that hole.
Yep. You getting all this?
Our schools would close, the veterans' home would have to
I
close.
basically listed them, now I'm fleshing them out.
Yep. Okay.
First one was quality of life, and the second was economic vitality, so just flesh that out.
The veterans' home would have to close, the schools would have to close.
Well, we'd have restaurants. Downtown would have to close. You have almost the entire downtown.
Well, you'd have,
You have hair salons that can't use water to wash hair.
It'd be far-reaching.
Yep.
Be far-reaching. It would be, not only far-reaching, it would be so devastating because of the longevity of before you were able to get it up and going again.
Yep.
you'd have to find another water source.
Well, the only thing that we possibly could do, which does not give us the pressurizing, we've looked into is interconnection with Franklin, over at the town line where Tilton and Franklin meet up.
Or you'd have to
And we
pump out of the
talked about
river.
Protection there, but the trouble is, they don't have the elevation to elevate and put water to our highest points in Tilton.
Could you pump out of the lake or the river?
How would you treat it? Our treatment facilities is 140.
I don't think any of us want to drink lake water regularly.
You have to go back to...
You'd have to go to they'd have to run lines, oh my God.
A whole new,
Okay,
it'd be a
so,
whole new
we
system.
keep falling off track of this letter.
Joyce is putting together the letter now as we talk.
No, she's writing notes.
She's
She has to
writing
leave in
notes.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, we need to get this written, whammo.
I don't think it has to be long.
No, it's short and sweet. We don't need to write a book.
The
I think if we,
Board of Selectmen, in regards to the citizens and businesses within the town of Tilton, that this would be economically disaster if this was ever to take place, and for fear that you had a episode at that site that contaminated.
That contaminated the wells.
Simple as that.
It would.
And therefore, we cannot support this project in any fashion.
It would definitely,
If you want to mention, 6 or 7 things, exit 20, the schools, the veterans, low-income housing, whatever, then fine. And then a little thing at the end, thank you for your consideration.
no, I
How
think
about-
that would be good.
You know, we're listing all the things that would be damaged by it, but why, maybe we should have some things in there that made us have such great concern after going to the hearing, because we were allowed to go to the hearing, and what we heard
Public
at the hearing was very alarming.
Oh, absolutely. Right in the first paragraph. Yeah, after attending the public hearing
And hearing
in
that they're
Belmont,
recovering these hazardous wastes, but not,
and hearing the testimony, we're horrified.
that they're being irresponsible.
Well, just them reading the minutes of the planning board, knowing that there have been non-compliance, and they're still continuing to give them full boat ahead
Yeah.
here. Keep going.
And I think we put something in there that we while they're non-compliant already, and have had instances of spills, and,
And he couldn't answer if there was a hot load that came in, where did the hot load end up? He never answered that. He never answered that. That's a huge concern to me.
and if they spread it out on the ground outside.
Yeah,
and
where does
hose
that
it
go?
down.
Well, Kathy Mitchell, she's got a picture, it was in the Citizen when they had their hot load there that went in that you spoke about.
Oh, the fire?
And they pulled it out in the yard, according to her. She has a picture that was in the Citizen about that.
Okay.
Well, if they do that, then it's going to end up on Pike's property.
Well, it's going to end up in the ground.
In the ground, it gets rinsed right through, that's,
It's out in the ground, then as you get rainwater, it just keeps flowing it into the ground, it doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, shame on them.
what type of soil? There's no clay over there, it's not like a Paxton clay, or, it's,
I think it's all
No,
sand
it's
for
just
the
it's all
most part.
sand.
Sand and gravel.
It's sand and gravel, that's it.
And water.
Where you get
So,
to the atmosphere.
can you make sure that that gets down to Tim and
Yeah,
we can, but I have my notes.
okay, okay.
John has a valid point. I think that it should
Happy training.
First thing in the morning, Derry?
full board of selectmen
First thing in the morning for this letter? Yeah.
hearing,
All right.
public hearing in Belmont. And from that public hearing, we came away as the Board of Selectmen with these concerns. And therefore, with our concerns, and you list your concerns with the exit 20 corridor, blah, 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 and then at the tail end of the letter, you say, therefore, we strongly, we stand as the Board of Selectmen strongly against having this
Facility located at that
facility
site.
being upgraded and approved for what they're trying to do, which is
Short and sweet, one sheet.
application to a type 1A facility permit. And be short and sweet, and then all five of you sign it, and
Page and a half. Got to have enough room for 5 signatures, see?
but I think that's a valid point, that you were there. It isn't like you're just hearing it.
All 5 of us were there. We're serious. I was quite surprised that I didn't notice any of the Northfield Selectmen there.
They weren't there.
Were
They
they
were notified.
unaware?
No, they were notified.
Okay. Well, maybe they had other commitments. Seems like that's a pretty serious matter. But there are a lot of people that are taking this up.
Are they writing a letter?
We're in the process of asking them to write a letter, yes, of course, they were not there, so.
Even so, they're in the butter. They have
Yeah.
that going on,
So we pretty much have what we want
I
here?
think.
I think she gets the gist of it.
Joyce
Well, I
said first
should-
thing in the morning.
also draft up a letter with more of like my concerns with the way that they're handling the hazardous materials.
Yeah, the specifics of it.
Did you see Chuck's letter, or?
No. As the guy who drinks the water, these are my concerns.
The Conservation Commission sending out a nice letter, too.
Can you forward that to us?
Yeah, it's a draft. Let's see if I can dig it out.
Did they put it on their website?
It's just
It's a
being
draft.
submitted around for,
Okay.
Oh, they haven't.
so that, you know, we all hit different points as opposed to a boilerplate type signed by everybody.
Well, we'll understand that it's a draft, so.
Be interesting if, Kathy's going to send that picture in, or?
I asked her to forward that picture if she could find it to the water district, because I'm still, like I said, we're trying to keep a file and everything, because if it gets approved, we're gonna have to go to the appeal process. So I figured we should keep everything in one file, at the office, we'll have it.
Have you tried talking to the citizen themselves with the date?
Is the Laconia citizen?
Is that the paper it was in?
Well, Gail Ober was there, I don't know who she's.
Oh, she's with the Daily
She's the
Sun.
son.
She's the son?
She used to be with the Citizen.
Okay, I gave her a copy of the letter that we presented to Wayne Wheeler before she left that night.
There you go.
So, she has not called me on it, so I would imagine the sun doesn't come out, they come out...
Tomorrow.
Not till tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow, right?
They don't come out on Sunday or Monday, so hopefully...
There was not anything in it on Saturday.
Do you think it would do any good to write a letter to the Concord Monitor? A letter to the editor?
I'm going to contact, I was contacted originally by a Tim from the Laconia Citizen. Can't think of his last...
Tim Bernier?
Yeah, Tim something. last name started with C.
Oh, not,
See the one that came down for the gazebo that time?
And I'll have to see
Asked all the
that,
questions?
but I can make contact
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't done a follow-up. I thought he'd be there that night, but he could have been. I don't know him. I've never met him in person.
I didn't see him. I didn't see anybody from the paper.
Gail Hooper was in the back, that's it.
Oh, was she?
And I knew she was in the back.
all right. Let's, we got that. Do you want to? We were asked to sign this tonight on another note, and I'm really upset about it because we didn't get a chance to talk directly to the department.
Yeah, I decided I wasn't going to sign it. Well, number one,
What's that?
I just, I had more questions about it.
I did too. The,
But you wanted us to sign that? I wasn't going to.
Oh, went to no smoking?
went to no smoking.
Yeah,
There was no smoking for years.
yeah, sure there wasn't.
But now, all of a sudden, because they were cited, it's now no smoking.
Well, yeah.
And came before the Board of Selectmen, and now we have to sign a letter saying the Board of Selectmen agree? No, I don't think
Agree
so.
that there's no smoking?
I don't think,
What are you talking about? There's been email conversations about this.
there has not been email conversations
think
with
so.
all of us,
Shouldn't
no.
be any email conversations about this. There should only be email FYIs.
And if the chief,
Well, that's what
Listen.
I'm thinking, I'm saying.
the
there's been
chief is
messages.
here every single week, and if the
Yep.
chief does something that's not up to par, he sits before us and says, you know what, no, chief, you shouldn't be doing it this way, you should be doing it this way. Nobody has come before any one of us and spoke of this, except the fact that we were told he was writing a letter. Well, that's not good enough in my books. He needs to sit down with us.
Okay, well, we can do that too. It's time sensitive. I'll just let you know that that's time sensitive. The response from the Board of Selectmen have to come.
That's been 3 weeks in the works. If it were time sensitive, we should have had it last Thursday at the Thursday's meeting.
Okay, woulda, shoulda, but now we got it.
Yeah,
And that's all I can tell you. I mean,
get-
my understanding is that
I hear you,
our
Joe.
response is time sensitive. How it should be is a different story, but now we got what we got.
You folks want to sign it, you're welcome to sign it. I'm just not,
Yeah, we can still have them come in.
and then it's done and over with because it's already signed.
Well, we can still have them come in. We're going to sign it.
And we're saying to the people that we agreed with those
Well-
measures of correction.
No smoking on town property, no smoking in the car. That's what they were looking
I
for.
think we can
isn't it?
still have them come in. The letter is a response to DES.
Yeah.
And our policy is more than what DES requires, which they
haven't
could actually,
enforced it properly.
we could allow us a smoking area down there. And we could allow them to smoke in their vehicles.
But we
They
do
just
not.
can't smoke
Well, their
with the
vehicles are
public.
their vehicles.
Why are we allowing them to smoke in their vehicles?
No, I'm saying we could. So what we
They
have in
do.
place,
We do not.
yeah, I just found out they do.
Yeah,
They do.
they do. Just travel in one of them.
In their vehicles?
Travel in one of them, Joe.
Well, I know
A new
that they
pickup
got-
truck
they
is-
were smoking in town vehicles. I know that. But I'm assured that from this point forward, they were not going to smoke in town.
But why were they?
Yeah,
Why were they ignoring town policy?
right.
And that's a question for when we get them here. But as far as not sending that form back,
So let's have them come in.
It
Yeah,
almost,
yeah.
yes, I agree. It almost feels like signing it, we're just sweeping it under the rug with
oh, no,
nothing.
no, we follow up.
We
follow
followed up
up.
on that end, but we didn't follow up on our end.
Right.
Yeah, and
I'm
so now we
just
have
bring-
to do that.
If I didn't bring it up tonight, I think it would have just gone away and nothing would have been said or done, and I don't think that that's the right way to do it.
Tim Camerado?
That's his name.
Okay,
Thank you, Joe.
yep.
I'm trying to think of my hand, but
So consensus is we'll sign it and get them in on
Sign it
Thursday?
and have them come in as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
We are in compliance and then find out what happened.
okay.
That would be my thing, anyway.
Do we have a copy of the letter that the Water District sent?
Yes,
I do, but not here.
I do, and you do in your email.
I do in
Yeah,
the
I've got it
email.
in email.
Yep,
That's true.
I thought we just got
I
this.
scanned it to everyone.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've seen it.
March 27th.
March 27th?
Yep,
Woo-hoo.
I scanned the original. Okay,
I was having password brain cramps.
So where's that letter?
John, I'll pass that letter down.
I
445,
found it, oops.
Dennis.
So he's signing up?
Yeah. We're in compliance now. Or we damn well better be.
think
I
it's
was
gonna be
assured
department
that we were.
What does she want us to sign? It above our names?
You were assured. You were assured.
Mr. Allen, I spoke with Mr. Allen about it. What is this about the smoking? He says, Joseph, he says, there will be no further smoking in any of the town vehicles or in any town buildings or the parking lot. I said, okay. Now, the issue of whether they're smoking in their own private vehicles on a break, I don't know. I didn't mention that.
Can't smoke in town property.
Can't smoke.
I didn't mention it. All I said was I didn't mention that, so I don't know. Again, a question for when they come and sit here at the table.
Okay, here we go.
So
Look forward to so.
we will have a non-public at the end of the meeting, because we have attorney-client. Oh, attorney-client, then we'll go right into non-public.
There you go.
Got it.
What time is the attorney-client?
4:45.
Do we have
Oh,
a
there you
busy
go.
agenda?
Hmm?
Do we have a busy agenda?
No, not now, because we took out the
That's what
Hosmer.
they currently have at the
Oh.
So
That's what he was saying, he said.
It's the attorney. from 4:45 to probably an hour.
This says no smoking on the property at all. So
That's
that
right.
covers that.
Hazardous waste storage.
Then we have,
However, if you look on,
Means
they have no
can't
financial.
smoke in their car.
No, it's on the town property.
Dennis and the
They
chief.
also state
We have two
website
non-publics.
that they collect
We need to fill you in on that.
acid batteries, electronics, and as far as I remember, those are all considered.
Which one?
Oh, you'll see.
You'll see. But we'd need to do it in non-public in order to fill you in on it.
Are we gonna do that tonight?
We could just take 5 minutes to do it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Seeing as this is a one, well, no, we could do other business, can't we? This is a
Okay.
properly noticed meeting.
Yeah.
I
Household.
think you signed in John's spot.
Well, there you go, I'm a rebel.
I'm just looking.
All right, I didn't notice.
To their
Well, he's got room under.
paperwork.
It looked like I missed it.
Sorry, John.
Where I work,
No,
May-
I run that.
I think I signed in the wrong spot. We'll
That goes
all
down
be
to
on
John.
there. so.
There'll just be a gap.
John's
aren't we?
going to be Joe, and Joe's going to be John for tonight.
What
Outstanding.
you have to do is, I drop manifest.
Except you got a little more hair on the top.
Not that much,
Where they have to go,
not that much.
whatever, if they can be,
It's a virility thing.
I make manifest.
That's what I choose to tell myself.
There you go.
Whatever lie gets you through, I guess.
The trucking company.
It's
I've
so
never
cold
cared about
today.
my hair, really.
They clean harbors.
I've always been scruffy.
Harbors receive it there, they have to send a copy to me, and I send it to you, to track it all the way through until it reaches its
So,
destination.
we good
We're
to
going to
go?
go in non-public, but they're talking.
Signing that they have received it, and I've prepared to make the same number of pounds, description.
I'm going to make a motion to go into non-public as per RSA
I don't.
91A:3,
But I'll
personnel.
send you copies of the last
Second.
stuff.
roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Thanks for coming,
Thanks,
Scott.
Scott. And, oh yeah, and we're now red.
Make a motion, we seal the minutes in the non-public as they pertain to personnel permanently.
Second.
All of those in favor?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I guess this is a fully signed copy as well. Did everyone sign the Gary Robinson?
Oh,